by alone inside. He's got the breakaway with the touch to the right. Goal! Everything you wanted from this debut. It's Brandon by taking a shot with the left. Goal! Isaac Friend from 25 yards out. The equalizer. Will Kidd with the touch of the goal. It's a go-ahead goal. Minneapolis City.
This is the People's Pitch Podcast, the official podcast of your Minneapolis City Soccer Club, brought to you by Summit Brewing Company.
Lockdown Journal, day 45. I'm feeling like things may never be normal again, so I grew a shitty mustache. But I hold out hope that one day we'll return back to the pitch. Sorry, folks, wrong platform. This actually is the People's Pitch, the official podcast of your Minneapolis City Soccer Club. I'm your host, John, and alongside me is my trusty steed, the Nate Morales. Nate, I apologize. I was deep in thought in my personal prison journal there for a bit. How you doing, man? Post Jimmy Conrad show hangover?
Yeah, you know what? It's been it feels like the week has gone by really, really fast in the wake of that. Like it took a day to process that. Also, I was a little hungover the next day after staying up late with John Bisworm and Jimmy Conrad drinking whiskey via the podcast. But yeah, man, it's been it's been awesome to hear people's response from that, and just thinking like, man, I can't believe we interviewed former U.S. men's national team star, and he was so cool.
Yeah, just down to earth, dude. And I'm getting in thirsty mode, and I'm trying to.
I saw you were getting bold, going after Stu Holden, and he liked the tweet, and then I think that was maybe a courtesy like, but we'll see. Well, maybe he's talking to his people. The obvious response back to him is, so was the like to my tweet a yes or a no? And then we just got to get it out of him. It's okay if he doesn't want to do it or he can't do it. But, I would think he would be the kind of guy who dives in. And if he doesn't do it, I'll just go to his buddy Steve Nash. I'm sure he'll do it. Oh, yeah, totally.
So despite the lack of on-field activity, there's tons of news, folks, coming out of city headquarters this week. The team has a plan for the summer, whether we play or don't play. So we'll break that down for you. News came from the organization today. To your email inboxes if you are a follower of Minneapolis City, signed up for that e-blast list. We're also number 5. We're number 5. The 2018 Crows are on the list of all-time greatest NPSL teams. So we'll talk about who else made the list and talk a little bit about that 2018 undefeated team. Minneapolis City is hosting a webinar for high school kids and families who are hoping to play college ball. So we'll speak a little bit on that. Jonah Garcia, our man of the digital matches, is rolling along in the lower league eCup, dispatching another opponent this week. So we'll talk a little about that. And then finally, we cap it off with one of the great ones in Minneapolis City, not only on the field, but off the field. Just a general good guy. We're happy to welcome City forward Nick Hutton to the show for the very first time. So, yeah, man. Soccer.
That's almost too much soccer, John. Let's not dally.
Ever
since the dominoes started kind of falling on sports leagues around the world, we have been in a holding pattern regarding the 2020 Crows, and I think that was kind of the safe bet, right? To see how the chips may fall. This week, the team released some communication that lays out a plan for when decisions are going to be made and what supporters can expect moving through the summer. And I wanted to talk a little bit about that, John, because I think it's pretty reasonable, actually. So we know that with the NPSL canceled, the UPSL, where Minneapolis City 2 plays, postponed, the U.S. Open Cup postponed indefinitely. So we know that with all that stuff happening, there's still a lot of soccer up in the air. But we really shouldn't expect to wait around all summer hoping it's going to kick back in, right? And it's not fair for the team to expect that of the fans. It's not fair of the fans to count on the team to be ready to go at the drop of a hat. So to that end, the team made an announcement, and they're going to make a call by May 14th. So they're giving it 2 more weeks to decide whether or not we are going to play at all between May 15th and July 15th. If the call on May 14th is no, then then we're going to move that.
No
We're going to move that.
soccer.
Yep, we're going to move that down the road. But the team believes that by May 14th, they're going to know enough from USASA, the state of Minnesota, the NCAA. They're going to take the holistic approach, right? Similar to our Governor Tim Walz, really take in all the expert opinions and make a sure-footed decision that everyone's going to be able to feel good about. And that means that maybe we do postpone thinking about soccer until July 15th. And if that's the case, then by June 15th, they're going to give it another month. They're going to determine if they play at all from July 16th through the end of the summer to August 31st. And if there is an opportunity to play after that, for instance, in the U.S. Open Cup, maybe they want to kick up in September, and who knows? I don't know. Who knows how they would do it? Then, of course, the club is going to deal with that when appropriate. But I think just trying to get us through the summer and figure out, like, what's our timetable, when are these decisions going to be made, that's a good step to take. Before we continue, John, with the NPSL canceled, what would, as an entire club, playing from July through August potentially look like for this team?
Well, before I dive into that, a little bit about the decision to take that approach. I mean, you hear everybody within sports across the globe say, you know, like we want to make sure that it's safe.
Yeah.
But what truly define what safe means, you know, there's been some just absurd talk out there about how we can still have these leagues domestically in the United States if we test every player, you know, once a week before matches, but the testing would cost like, you know, upwards of $200 a person. You know, we don't have the funds to be able to do that. We're not Major League Baseball or the NFL or whatever. Yep. So we looked at it from a player safety standpoint. We also looked at it like we kind of sneakily released out on Twitter like last week, you know, if we were to play today and everything was supposedly safe, would you come? And there was a resounding no. And we have to think about the safety of the fans. You know, like we're not like getting 5,000 people to come to our games like Detroit City is, where people could kind of spread out if they wanted to. But Edor Nelson, you know, even if they would rent to us, that's another thing. The facilities where we play, you know, even if people would come to a game, are they going to feel safe around other people? Is we a bunch of masked people running around our stands? Right. What's safe about that? People wearing masks in Cedar Riverside, like probably not a good idea. So I mean, we had to think about things from a safety standpoint across the board, and then, like I said, facilities and how do we train? Where do we train? You know, a whole bunch of things. And I believe, you know, when the decision comes out, a lot more will go into what I just said, but that's kind of a little bit of a high level stuff of it. But if we are to hit go to answer your initial question, you know, we talked about some scenarios, and we've had a ton of feelers come our way from teams in other leagues that have asked us to get on their schedule if they are allowed to play. Maybe if it's in some sort of truncated preseason for them, we would be their tune-up games. Our homeboys in Milwaukee constantly, every time a decision is made or not made or pushed back or postponed, Patrick Lavarian's asking us like, okay, so knowing this now, like, would you still be able to get together between X and X time period? We'd come to you, you come to us. Our guys out in Boulder, I mean, they'll play us 5 times a year if they could. So there's some of that stuff as well. So it would mean that we would boot back up again, you know, to play. We'd get back to our regular twice a week training.
Yep.
Then also there's the Open Cup. Like if the Open Cup gets postponed to that time period, until they tell us we're still in the competition, even though there was that report on Twitter about a month ago that said that we'd be kicked out again because our league is postponed. But I'd have to feel like all the stuff that the U.S. Open Cup did to be better to the little guy this year, they're not just gonna. I'd say they're not going to. They shouldn't. just quick turncoat and shit on all the guys in the NPSL. Who there's quite a few teams in there that would be willing to play because we don't have that's our only thing.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like Indom would say you're automatically out because of this rule that we as a governing body can't change. Like, and they're just going to focus on the pro people. So it would be a last case scenario would be us tuning up for an Open Cup game, and who that would be against, we don't know, because you know, some of the opponents in our region have pulled completely out of the competition. So So I mean, in general, Nate, I just don't know what it would be, but it could be us training first and then playing matches as we can get them.
I got you, man. So moving on, if the club determines that it's not going to be appropriate to play in May, in June, or July, they've made the decision to offer the 2020 members two options. First, refund our memberships, which would exclude, of course, the cost of the scarf, the shipping that it took to send your boxes to your houses, making the magnet, all that stuff. But like basically like give you the money back that they haven't spent yet, right? Because we know they said we know that times are tough economically, so maybe you need that $50 and that's fine. But two, they'll give us the opportunity to just basically turn the balance of our membership purchase into a donation. So instead of paying for tickets and paying for an experience, you're just donating to the club because they are a 501c3 organization and they have probably already spent the money that we've sent them. So
right.
So they'll give it back, but it might take a while.
Yeah. It'll probably be faster than a stimulus check.
Yeah.
We'll just put it that way.
No, but I'm kidding. But but really, you could choose to get the money back minus the cost of the things you already have, or just donate it. And it'd be great to see some soccer this summer, John. But if not, at least I know my membership fee is going to go to a good home.
Right, and you can write it off on your taxes. Get those donations up.
Yep.
I mean, you have later in the year to be able to file your taxes if you haven't already. So
I filed the shit out of mine.
I had to pay this year, so I was right about to cut that check, and I was like, oh, I got an extension. Thank you very much, federal government.
Nice.
But anyways, enough about federal government. The lull in activity opens the door for all sorts of content, and the NPSL thought that the time was right to talk about the all-time greats. They've been doing some social media pools lately. Most recently, they did the all-time top 10 players, which saw former Crow Brandon Bai. He landed in the second spot behind some guy named Chris Wondolowski, whoever that is. But this time the focus was on the teams, Nate, the team aspect of it. And of course, over 17 years with over, close to thousands of teams almost. It seems like a pretty prestigious list that you might land on, would you say?
Yeah. I mean, I can't believe, I mean, it's yes. If you're the kind of fan, if you're the fan that has followed the NPSL for 17 years, then Lord love you, and you deserve to be the person that's voting for this. But I think a lot of it has to do with just like who's the hot team or who's the, who had the big famous seasons, and I'm glad we're on it.
Right, exactly. And you know what? I mean, we're going to break down here the 2018 team, and you might change your tune on why they maybe shouldn't have been selected in that top 10 list. So by all the good graces, all the ballots that were sent out, 2018 undefeated North Conference Championship team was voted, like we said, as number 5 on the list, along some really good squads. Nate, when you're mentioned along the lines of the New York Cosmos and Red Bull New York B, Chattanooga, Detroit, all pro teams, the Erie Commodores, which I think was probably one of the all-time teams that I knew of, AFC Cleveland, another really great one, the Sonoma Soul. I mean, the list goes on. It's really, that Sonoma Soul team was really one of the fun ones to watch. But anyways, to be part of that through all these years in soccer, Nate, and having that team we put together, I think from my perspective, one of the best ones that I've ever been part of building, but just a fun group to be around. So let's go to the stats here. So the 2018 Crows were definitely something special. After feeling out the NPSL in the 2017 season, where City built a team that we've talked about was kind of better suited for the PLA. On paper, looked like a contender. We found out that wasn't the case. And in 2018, the team was really built with that 1 year of knowledge about how our conference was going to be, laid out if the teams that we played in 2017 came back. And so we built one to win, and when they did, Nate, on the backs of I counted them, 28 rostered players, all homegrown from a driving distance of within 25 miles of each other, which is something that cannot be said about any other team, I think, ever in the NPSL. The Crows ripped through the North Conference, the record of 10 wins, 4 draws, and 0 losses. And I think the record itself is impressive because 2 of those 4 draws came against the bottom 2 teams in the league in Eris and in Sioux Falls.
Yeah.
Which should have been victories. So it could have been 12-2-0. But the team soldiered on, winning the division with 34 points, which is 2 more than what we call like our mythological number of 32 that we've seen that kind of keeps you in the hunt for a title. Another eye-opening stat, though, Nate, is the nation's leading goals for stat. The Crows led the country in goals for at 46 goals in 14 games, and we're top 5 in goals against average at just 14. So if you're doing the math quick there, folks, that's 1 goal a game conceded per the 14 games, and just over 3 goals scored per game. So that's some pretty decent stats. Like that's a team that I think in itself right there should be warranted in a top 10 list, or in at least in an all-time great discussion. And think about this way. If we had a healthy Brandon McGarity and a healthy Nick Hutton, who we're going to have on the show here in a little bit for that full season, we're looking at possibly scoring 60 goals over 14 games. So Nate, if you're, I mean, that's absurd,
That's
right?
so many goals.
Considering we scored like 25, maybe what we score in year 1, 2017, like 24, 25 goals. Like we doubled that almost. And if you're winning games, Nate, 3-1 on average, that's a damn good team.
Yeah, man. I think there's two things I just have to say about that. The first is it's a shame that the classic Minneapolis City injury/travel bug struck the team as we moved into playoffs, because this was a team that looked really good in the regular season. Then once we had to go to Ann Arbor to
an infamous nose ring incident,
the nose ring incident, the fact that there were some injuries on field, of course, is just the travel bug hit us, and that really sucked. I think we could have made a better run, considering the competition in in that postseason. But secondly, I think it's funny that even though the stats don't show it, I feel like last year's team was better than the 2018 team. It just didn't look like that when you lined up the numbers on paper. And I think
I agree 100% with you. When I was looking back at the 2 teams' rosters, I was counting the guys. I was like, shit, the 2019 team, like that team was like pound for pound far better.
Yep.
But that's how soccer is, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I think if this says anything, it's just like this is a team that's got nowhere to go but up even more, and we're going to end up with better moments, better players, better rankings on the all-time list next time we have to sit in our houses for 2 months at a time.
You mean in the winter?
Right on, man. Right on. So let's move on really to kind of an interesting bit of that was announced by Minneapolis City also this week. They will be hosting a free webinar on college recruiting in the COVID era, and I think this is important for a number of reasons. But in general, I like that Minneapolis City is starting to delve into this territory of dispelling the mystique around how to get noticed, right? How to train, how to just work your ass off. It's more than just like hoping you're in the right club at the right time or the right academy at the right time. It's really like there's a methodology to this, and we're going to start talking about it. It might feel obvious to people, especially if you've got a kid in high school or a kid who's thinking of trying to get into soccer or play into the college years. But why the webinar and why now? I mean, COVID-19 is a nice backdrop for it, but I think this is relevant even without the fact that a whole class of kids has lost their senior year.
Well, yeah, the obvious reason is because there is that large slice of soon-to-be college eligible players who are going to have a lost season, but they're now more than ever going to have parity across the recruiting landscape, Nate. Like, not one person is going to be in a situation, like you said, being seen at the right time in the right place. They're all at ground zero as far as recruiting goes. So, like, how are they supposed to make ground on an already confusing recruiting process? I think is the number one thing for us to get across in the webinar. We're hoping to help them out, because we have a good group of staff, a wealth of players that have insights into that process, that we can provide. And it's something that we should be doing, right? We should be trying to help out soccer. Plus it helps the people on the staff that have that information to provide it, and position us as a club that's a trusted thought leader, and just beyond being who we are, our loud voice in social channels and what we do on the field, but being that source to help out players in our state. That's kind of our mission for the club, for guys that play with us. So why not continue to use what we can, the knowledge we have and the connections we have to help out another group that might need it.
Yeah, I do. I like that. Excuse me. I like that because on some level, it's like, yeah, we're going to get you noticed and we'll get you to the next level if you're good enough to make a squad. But at the same time, now the city's turning around or Minneapolis City is turning around and saying, here's how you end up to be good enough to make a squad.
Right. Yeah. I guess that's definitely an undertone. I mean, but I think that at the end of the day, it's less about making a city squad and really,
right. It's more about the development, right? What do you do in order to continue on your soccer development? Whether it's, going from high school to college or whatever, but like there are a lot of kids out there that don't really get how to get noticed by college coaches, don't really know, there is kind of a curtain there that they don't quite understand, especially if nobody in their family has gone to college.
Right. And we have a lot of that in Minneapolis.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have a lot of first generation, soon to be college, college aged men and women. So, it makes total sense to us as a club to dive into this.
So who's going to be presenting this webinar?
Right now, the plan's a mixture of staff and players. Obviously, I'll have a portion of the presentation seeing that recruiting and relationship with universities all over the country falls into one of my buckets. But you'll hear from, technical director Adam Pribble, head coach MVB, Matt Van Benskoden. We'll have some of our players on there to talk about their experience and some tips that they have, as well as some input that we gathered after kind of cracking open our contact lists of, we reach out to 12 different coaches from community colleges, NAIA, and all the way through divisions 3 through 1 and NCAA. So that input that we asked for is going to be in the presentation, but we're not going to actually have any coaches on. You get in a little bit of a weird area there with recruiting.
Yep.
So we're going to present it all anonymously, but we've gotten some really great feedback and different feedback. So it won't be your same cookie cutter responses across what we're going to be presenting, at least from the college coaches.
Well, that's good too, because a lot of kids are going to have different goals, right? If I just want to play soccer in college and go to a regional school because I don't want to move too far from home, then there's going to be a coach that has a perspective, hopefully, too, that I can understand and listen to. Maybe I don't want to move to Indiana or to another D1 school. So maybe, that advice might not be super applicable to me. So I like that range.
Right.
What can we expect to hear about? Like that's a lot of people to talk. What are they going to talk about?
Well, for that info, Nate, you're just going to have to sign up and join the conversation.
I'm gonna, man.
But for real,
I want to know how to play.
Yeah, sorry, man. Your eligibility is over.
Shit, you're right.
I mean, you can't even fall into that grad transfer category. Your hope to be a soccer star
too far gone.
It's gone, man. But at a high level, the topics will be getting a general understanding of what the landscape is outside of COVID, but more importantly now, the preparation and expectations of what coaches look for, what you need to be doing yourself in order to get noticed, And then obviously, like I mentioned, what the coaches have to say about the players that they look for. And I think that testimonial part that I just mentioned from our players, I think in going through that process, maybe not in this in this specific environment with a pandemic going on, but hearing from them, how their journey was, whether they stuck around with the same school for 4 years, whether they dropped down a division. We have a lot of different guys like that that can provide, a good look into it. So a little bit of a mixed bag, Nate.
Nice. So this webinar is free. It's open to parents and players. All you have to do is register on mplscitysc.com. And then you can join on the Zoom. Everyone's joining on the Zoom. It's going to be May 11th, 2020. That's this year. May 11th of this year at 7 p.m. Central Time. So register. Register online and check it out if you've got an interested kid or if you're an interested parent. Once again, John, we had the pleasure of announcing a lower league eCup match as Jonah Garcia took the virtual field in the lower league eCup this last Saturday. This time in interleague play, as it were, against FC Tucson. FC Tucson was also a club that had been undefeated up until now. They are the leaders of their group, Group J. And Jonah, of course, is the leader of his group, our group, Group I, both in the Xbox group, of course, of the Xbox division. Jonah came out when the game started in his customary, well, first of all, after powering down a delicious-looking burrito bowl from Chipotle, which we covered.
At his brother's birthday party.
We had his brother's birthday party, which we covered in depth. Jonah came out in his customary 4-3-3 formation, and he worked to a hard-fought scoreless draw at the half.
Yeah, at the half. Yep, absolutely. Before he started making his adjustments.
And he did more of the same halftime adjustments. He moved to a 4-1-2-1-2, where he tucks his CDM between his center backs, and he lets those wing backs fly. And that means that's going to give him 7 on the attack, with most of that located centrally so that he can move the ball around and flummox his opponent with some ball movement. And it really paid off. His second half success was to the tune of 2 goals, I believe, to Tucson's 0, which locked him in as a 2-0 victor. And Jonah is now guaranteed to go through to the single elimination stages of this tournament. But first, we've got one more group stage match.
So before we dive into the group stage match, a little bit about what's kind of going on in the eCup. I was a little bit disgruntled that throughout this process he hadn't been nominated for the top players of the week, and I think that's because if you watch him play, Jonah is really good at FIFA. Like, he's figured out how to scam the system and be good at it. And I really do feel, Nate, I don't know if you share my sentiment, but he could win something like this. Maybe it's not this, but I mean, he's got the skills to go for a deep run. Hopefully, knock on wood, not curse to the commentator. But he's not getting the recognition I think he's deserved because he's not going out and beating someone 14-0, or some guy put up 20 goals against someone, and that to me is less.
I saw someone tonight 110-0.
Yeah, that's less of an indication of how good you are and more of an indication how bad the guy you're playing against is. So I challenge the people who are scoring all those goals to do it on a cold, rainy day in Stoke, man. Like, play against someone who levels the playing field a little bit, and then you can get the recognition. But until then, I feel like Jonah's getting slighted.
Yeah, if anything, this game gave us a good taste of what the competition level is going to be like in the tournament at large, right? Like, you're playing a group leader in another group. What are they going to look like? How have they been playing? Again, a guy that has been pretty much owning the rest of the teams in Group J. So,
and he's leading the EUSL Cup right now.
Right. So this is not a bad player. This is not an average player. This is a really good player. Jonah was able to really figure it out. And this is all without the use of really any skill move players. I think that's something that we note during our broadcast, and we're going to bring up over and over again as Jonah is able to just play some really sound FIFA and and get through get through this competition.
So next match is this coming Friday, which would be May 1st. Happy May Day. 7:30 Central versus OKC 1889 FC of the UPSL. Coverage begins at 7:15 with us two jackasses doing our commentary, and it can be found at twitch.tv/MPLS with some surprise bonus coverage to begin shortly after the final whistle. So
Yeah.
if you're going to tune in, carve out a little bit more time and stick around with us.
It's going to be wonderful.
It's going to be wild. It has been a bit since we had a player on since, well, we aren't really playing soccer. So we decided it was time to dip back into that eclectic player pool we have and pull out a guy who is a household name if you're a City fan. But we thought about it, and outside of a one-off interview here and there post-game, we didn't really sat down and rap with him. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first time on the People's Pitch podcast, Minneapolis City forward Nick Hutton. Mr. Hutton, how you doing, pal? You guys surviving the lockdown?
Yeah, hey dudes, what's up? Just missing your faces and missing a bunch of soccer here. It's kind of crazy.
Just getting sick of seeing your family.
I mean, I wouldn't say that on the air.
I'm sick of seeing my family. I'll say it. So we're just gonna get right after it. If you're aware of Nick, or even if you're not, his production really just pops off the page. Nick has appeared for the Crows in 20 matches since 2018. 2017, if you count the cameo versus the U of M that Nick logged in 2017. So it's just under 1,500 minutes played so far with 10 goals, which currently sits Nick at third place all time in City history. 6 assists, which is fourth all time, and 3 yellow cards, which funny enough is also fourth all time, way behind AO's 13. So again, folks, production when Nick is healthy is absolutely there on the pitch for the Crows.
in all ways, right?
Yeah.
Nick, we always like to talk a little bit about how each of our guests got started in the game.
Mm-hmm.
What has your soccer journey been like from when you were a little twin down in Apple Valley up to now when you are one of the top City strikers?
Well, yeah, funny enough, I didn't even start in Apple Valley. So I come from a military family. My dad was commander of the Navy. So we got started out in Virginia, played a little bit in Florida for a little bit. Then I actually grew up in Hawaii. I was down on Eva Beach, which is pretty much Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, for about 5.5 years. I played on the Leeward Twisters, which was pretty cool.
Wow.
That's a quality.
That's a cool name.
That's a quality name.
Leeward. I mean, that's such a that's a seaman's term.
Oh, for sure. And then, we always battled against the big club, was Honolulu Bulls, that had some really big names come out of it. But, it was close by. Then we came back up to Minnesota and then played at Valley United, which is down in Apple Valley, and had mostly local kids in the south suburbs and stuff. And they were a pretty good team. And we just kind of grew from there. So I always grew up playing. I have actually a twin brother named Mike, and the two of us played with my older brother named Dan, and he was a goalie, and the two of us just hit shots on him all day long.
So you didn't really take the traditional path to Minneapolis City like most of our players did. You chose to go the route of being a track athlete at the University of Minnesota rather than playing college soccer. From what I hear, you were a really good runner. Can you define that for us, like what your stats were? All I really know is that you may or may not be or have been an All-American at least one time while you were there.
Yeah. So Minnesota has got an awesome track program. Was really lucky to be able to go join that. So we had an awesome team. I was a 3-time All-American for the Gophers. Ran the half mile and the mile. Was down in the 148s in the 800. We got into some good races. Never got really out into pacing a ton, more competitive into trying to win races than go after really fast times. So 148 is not extremely fast when you look at Division I, but when getting into races was always competitive. And got third in open 800. And then in the relays, I was anchor of a school record distance medley relay, ran the mile leg for that. and we won the Big Ten title and got third at nationals a couple of different times there, and then went to the national meet in the open mile as well. So,
so you know your way around a track, is what you're basically saying.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's yeah, I did that for a long time, about 5.5 years, and had to actually stop playing soccer for that time.
So was the decision to go that route of being a runner rather than a baller, was that something that was easy to make for you, or was it made for you by coming out of high school and club soccer, where you were a standout? The looks weren't there.
Yeah, and even before that, like, did you learn in the course of playing soccer, like, I'm really good at running, or was it because of soccer that you were able to succeed so well in track?
I mean, it was definitely a little bit of both, right? So we always played in some, like, Apple Valley on the south side of the city is always very direct, so everyone's going to be fit and running, and it's kind of like a blitzkrieg German style where they're just going to run at you all day and just try to keep going at you. So it was always a lot of fun, right? But so we always ran to get in shape for soccer, and then, you know, when you started getting older, competing on the track was fun, and so it's more the competition aspect. No, I don't really like to go out and just grind for runs and stuff. That's not fun for me. But being in that element,
sucks for everybody.
Right.
Yeah, being in the element of being able to race with people and kind of toe the line is good time. So I was always a soccer player. But to go back to John's question, Mike and I were actually 17 when we went to college. We're the kids that were young for our grade, you know, September birthdays. So I think a lot of the schools that I was trying to go to, I think colleges thought that we had another year of high school left. And this might be just me totally making that up, but that's my prediction and stuff, because when we were freshmen in college, we started getting some of the people to respond back to us.
Because of your age?
Because and so Mike was a forward. He had some more stats and stuff, so he had some more people reaching back out to him, and I was kind of the dirty work in the midfield back in the day. But yeah, so the schools that I wanted to go to, I couldn't get anybody to respond, and then the next year they started reaching back out to us.
Sorry, I'm an All-American runner at the U right now. I can't really. Sorry, Division III soccer coach.
Yeah, so I mean, we had the opportunity to go D3 and stuff like that, but I, you know, selfishly wanted to push it and go D1, go as high a level as I could, and so went and pushed it in the track side, and after track was over, you know, coming to Minneapolis City was my way of testing myself to see, could I have potentially gone D1 or, you know, toe the line with those guys in the soccer field. And that's why I absolutely love this stuff so much.
So it's pretty.
Seems like yes.
Yeah, exactly. So it's well documented for the better part of 2 years before you finally cracked a roster for City. You were just crushing it with City's men's league affiliate Stegman's after, you know, we mentioned that cameo you had in 2017 versus the U, which is ironic, where you scored a 90th minute goal to save a draw in a preseason game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that really made it hard for us to keep you off the roster. But that 2017 team kind of had already been fully packed with, I think, 28 players. So there really wasn't room to add anyone. But the Stegman's to U.S. Open Cup to roster to City has been a really good recipe for players. Can you talk a little bit about that and how you use it to gain a firm roster spot that you really haven't let go since?
Yeah, I mean, it's just fun to, I think I mentioned it after that U of M game. Funny thing about that game was I came from the bar. Somebody called and it's like, hey, we're actually short. Somebody called and said they're not going to make it. Can you come? So I biked home from the bar and then zipped over to the game and laced up. But I was so pumped. But I was a little tuned. I mean, yeah, I mean, you mentioned after the game, it's like, you know, the grand scheme of things, it'd be awesome to make it. But just all these chances to lace up are so awesome. So playing with the guys, you know, a ton of the City guys were on Stegman's. We kind of lit up the league that year. And my thought was, you know, maybe if I could put up the stats, I'll play my way onto it. They've got no chance but to actually put me on the team. If they've got other forward attacking players on Stegman's, if I can put up more numbers and not in a selfish way or manner, perform well, you know, I'll get a chance next year. And then, you know, kept doing that for a couple of years and put up some good numbers, and got the call up for some tournament teams, and then kind of, you don't get too many chances. You just keep playing hard and enjoying when you get your chances.
Nice. So, Nick, one of the best stories probably is one that I like you to tell, because it's when we went on the trip to Aurora for the U.S. Open Cup. A lot of people probably haven't heard this story, but it was significant for a number of reasons. So I'd like you to kind of walk us through how that trip went and all the good things that came out of it for you.
I mean, that was just a fun soccer game. So I actually, that was fun for me. I had just gotten back from, I think our game was on Sunday. I think we left on Saturday, and Biz, keep me honest on this. We left on that Saturday morning, right?
Yeah.
So I had gotten back from my honeymoon that Friday night, like late in the evening, Friday night, and then got on the bus the next morning. It was in Peru and Belize and stuff for honeymoon, and then the next day, so it was going to cap off like the most epic week ever. Honeymoon into soccer tournament and go from there. It was the greatest. So then all the guys, we all drive out together, having a blast, getting to know all the dudes and stuff, playing games on the bus, just dinking around, all the things you do and miss that you used to do as little kids on the bus rides or car rides and stuff. You mess around in the hotel rooms, and then we get into the game, and it's kind of a sloppy game. The weather was kind of odd. It was pretty good. But they were a pretty physical team. And then so we said, let's go direct. They're going to try to hit us. The field wasn't overly big from what I remember, but we wanted to just kind of pin them deep and make it hell, which is my favorite kind of game to, we get a lot of guys who like to put it down and play and are damn good technically and stuff. And I do it a heck of a lot more unorthodox by running and hitting people and stuff like that. But, it was a back and forth game. I remember AO had an awesome goal. Can't remember the other ones. I don't know if it was Marty, but we get to overtime, get to double overtime. I think Marty rips in an awesome cross, climbed the ladder, got a header back across, and we take it in second overtime. And I have like the whole guys pile on me in their box, and as I'm on my way down from the header, both my calves just cramped straight up, and so I've got a Charlie horse in both calves on the bottom of this pile. And then we get up and we finish the game. We're all chanting in the locker rooms, having a hell of a good time. And I don't know if there was something you're looking for, that was my memories for it. It was awesome.
What was the phone call that you took after the game?
Which one was this? I don't know. There's a bunch. All my family called. We talked to some soccer guy. Who called us?
Did you talk to your wife at all?
Yeah, I did. I did. And I think you're probably confusing about me having a little kid, right? Is that what you're thinking of?
That's what we're trying to get out of you. I thought it was the Aurora.
No, that was
game.
a New York game. That was Buffalo.
Oh, okay. So it got you. You scored the goal that got you to New York, and then you go to New York, and then you find out.
Yeah, it was between. Maybe it was celebrating this game that then we found out in Buffalo that I had a little one on the way.
Huh. So why did we think both John and I thought that it was that was like when you'd found out that you were having a kid?
No, it was not a honeymoon baby. That was the very end stretch of all that. There was a tight window, but I'm sticking to my story. It wasn't a honeymoon kid.
All
right.
We thought it was. I mean, it would have been a lot cooler. I mean, next time we have you on, we'll let you know ahead of time what we're going to talk about. So
totally, yeah. The end of this game, I found out we're having a kid. It was the greatest thing.
There you go.
Instead you found out after total disappointment.
God, story over. Are there any other? So you've been pretty much a standard in the team ever since. Are there any other stories in the ensuing 2 seasons that come to mind as a close second in your time as pro?
I mean, I think my favorite game playing was actually on the losing end was when we went up to Detroit and played in front of just the absolutely wild crowd of, 7,000 plus or however many the count ended up being. My family watched back on the live stream back here, and these dudes are legit. These guys are trying to go pro, and these guys are trying to make soccer their careers, and trying to measure up to those guys with a bunch of fun guys that we play with all the time. And a lot of the guys on our team are trying to do the same thing. But being one of the older guys who just already has a career and is just doing this as a hobby, it was freaking awesome to go out and play in front of an epic stadium like that. So, they're coming out with their signs. They're ripping you apart, and I'm turning and smiling and laughing about them. And the crowd was getting pissed at me for smiling too much and stuff. It was pretty hilarious.
My favorite part of that game really was that, like you said, you just had like this huge smile on your face, and these guys just probably had no clue like how to respond to that. Like they're like you said, like, well, I mean, both those guys are pro center backs now, and like you're just like having a field day, just like causing fits for them, and they're probably not used to just some happy-go-lucky kid from Minnesota coming in and just running around, and you're like, oh, whatever, this is awesome. Your fans are great.
Yeah, it was pretty flattering. There's a few times where there's a few tactical fouls that they had to just chop the shit out of me. Sorry for swearing, but they had to chop us down, and because we had a guy beat you going around him or something, it's like, damn, this guy's really good and had to cheat to take you down. It's like, it's pretty flattering. Just a few breaks, this, that, and the other. Like Jo went down and could have gotten a penalty here. We had a ball cleared off the line. All these different things that could have happened. Just the adrenaline was there to the very end, till the crummy penalty kick that the ball nailed into Ao's hand late in the game. And it was just a high intensity game throughout. And yeah, it was just absolutely wild. I mean, the rest of the time, it feels like an intense, way better version of soccer, but reminds me of just some of the greatest times as a little kid traveling around with all you guys, playing soccer all the time. I mean, coming back as an adult, totally.
Not a care in the
world.
world.
Coming back as an adult, like remembering that, oh my God, soccer practice is actually super fun, where you used to complain about it as a little kid sometimes, or this, that, and the other. It's like going out and playing soccer and doing keep away and doing all these things, and like cursing yourself for screwing up or things like that. Just seeing the guys is, I mean, that's going to be the most memorable thing. And it's going to be a tough day when I do have to hang them up. And that's why a lot of the guys ask me if I coach or if I'm going to coach, and I'm not going to coach until I have to actually hang up the cleats.
So we ask the players that come on, what makes City special to you as a player, and what makes it stand out from some of the other soccer experiences that you've had in your life?
I mean, it's wild, the melting pot of people we have. So my brother Mike came out and started training from the trial this year. There's some other kids there that were playing with us. And, Mike was talking about it. The last time he had a soccer season was 2011. And this one kid goes, I was in 4th grade. And we all just started laughing. And it's like, that kind of struck me as like, holy smokes, what an insane group. We've got kids from all different, social classes, ethnic groups, ages, soccer clubs. It doesn't matter about, any of that stuff. All that matters is people like getting out and playing, and, we can yell at each other to pick it up, to push each other but then afterwards we still high five and have fun and make fun of each other. It's just a really cool thing. I like the fact that, if you work your tail off, if you produce, you're going to get minutes in. We've got a bunch of wingers and forwards that I've got to constantly battle against that are freaking awesome, that it's fun to have to compete against those guys. We're all kind of on edge and figuring out who's scoring, who's putting assists up and everything like that, because the seat's kind of hot, and it's a fun rush. But if you're not pushing for it, it probably means that the team's not that good. So winning titles is awesome, but just being part of the whole winning culture is it doesn't seem like the titles are that sweet because the culture is winning already.
Yes, totally.
The culture is
That's
winning
that's
already.
a good line.
Probably
Put that on a
no,
t-shirt.
that's probably so lame. But like, I don't know, everyone's in there for the mentality to win this thing. So titles are, they were sweet at first, but now it's really more of an expectation.
Yeah, man. So here's
For sure.
here's the question. You're the first player we've had on. I guess Jonah doesn't count because we talked to him about a lot of stuff, and we hadn't really quite the reality of the situation maybe hadn't quite sunk in.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a good possibility that there will be no soccer this summer, and that's not just for Minneapolis City. That's for Minnesota United. That's for every other team across the country,
Mm-hmm.
and even around the world. What is going to be your first moment back to soccer? Like, what do you want your first moment back to soccer to look like? Whether it's sitting down with your kid and watching Premier League mornings, whether it's hitting the field yourself. Like, how do you want to celebrate the return to soccer when it happens?
I mean, I think there's gonna be a lot of celebrations. I don't think it's gonna be one. I think being able to watch soccer again is gonna be awesome. I'm gonna be able to enjoy my mornings where I can have a donut and coffee, and then start my weekend mornings, and then playing. I mean, they're all my outlets that I now miss, and I'm probably such a crabby jerk at home now because I don't have being able to go play soccer, be able to watch soccer, the things that I do that are mindless are all related to soccer. There's nothing else. I drop work, I drop any stresses and stuff with soccer. So it's like all the different things, going to see all the dudes, going to play, be able to hit people on the field, be able to just sweat and feel good because nobody likes just doing prison workouts in their basement or going for runs. There's only so many damn walks you can go on that I need some of these stress relieving games, something to watch, something to argue, somebody to hate, all those things. I don't have anything to hate anymore. It's unbelievable. It's just the quarantine. I'm missing the hatred and the joy.
That's another t-shirt. I have nothing to hate anymore.
I mean, yeah, it's just that, we're riding a roller coaster that's got absolutely no ups or downs.
Man, I agree. There's it's hard to find, you see it on TV all the time, or you see the commercials and you see the heartwarming stories and you're like, that's kind of bullshit. Like, life day in and day out is exactly the same over and over again. We're in this weird limbo.
Yeah, it's Groundhog's Day where the only thing that's different is this bullshit politics stuff that came out, and thank God there's Tiger King in the next documentary right?
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So are you in contact with any other guys? And
we're still texting the fellas.
Still together.
The funny thing is there's such a big crew of guys and stuff that I think there's pockets of guys that hang out a lot outside of soccer, and there's other guys who are just really excited to see each other when we're at soccer. So it's checking in with each other, how we doing, excited for the next this, that, or the other. You following what's going on. I don't think anybody lives that close to each other either, in just such a giant variety of ages, distances around the Twin Cities that people live. It's checking in and staying friendly, but I don't know, it's gonna be way sweeter to get out on the field with the guys again.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So I won't say who it is, but someone, not me, at the Minneapolis City Galactic headquarters asked me to have you rank the coaching staff at City from top to bottom, with one being the best.
Oh my God. How many coaches are we going through? Are we going through just the head coaches of the last few years? Are we going through?
I mean, you can. It's your answer, man.
This is the game you spoke.
You can do whatever. You can do whatever you want.
Oh, it's not.
This is not the game. But yeah. This is just a question I threw it out there to the coaching staff and the front office staff, and was like, "Any questions for Hutton? We're gonna have him on the podcast this week." And
Oh
And
my
this was the
God,
first
that's
one that
hilarious.
came, and I was like, oh,
I mean,
man. But
oh,
it's
for
a,
sure.
it's a safe space.
The,
You know,
the
you can.
podcast where everyone can listen and get pissed. I mean, we could bring hatred back here.
Yeah, see, you said you're looking for something to hate.
I mean, heck,
Hate
okay,
on
so
somebody.
let's see. My options here, I've got Van B, I've got Pribble, I've got John, I've got all the assistant guys. I'm going to keep it to a nice tight crew so that people aren't going to be pissed when I leave them out or pissed that I didn't rank them higher. So I'm going to keep it to 3. And that'll be our I guess I'll keep it 4 just because I'll throw another name in there that I wasn't able to connect with very well. So the 4 I'm going to judge will be Pribble, Van B, John, and Keith Kicker. Those are the 4 coaches, I think, head coaches that I played for with City, right? Okay.
Yep.
I mean, so there's 3 that are essentially tied that I've got a hard time. Okay, so I think Pribble, I was the most excited because I first got my chance. So I had the most fun breaking out that season. So I'm going to put Pribble at the top. I'm going to put Van B at number 2. And I'm going to put you at 3, John, because I've only gotten 1 game and we're only 500, or 2 games with you and we're only 500.
Well, technically, Dan coached the team in,
okay, so we're gonna
in New York. So I am undefeated
well, that's
as a
fair.
head coach.
That's fair. Okay,
so,
well, you can argue your way out of 3rd, but I've still got you there. I did enjoy a lot of the training sessions we did, though, with some of the different fitness things and the German squares and the little ball movements and stuff. I think it's just based off of excitement about joining the club and stuff. So Van B, I really like he's very open to player feedback. It's awesome how much he comes back and just says, guys, what's working, what's not. Here's what I see. We have an awesome conversation about it. Pribble does something very similar, but he gets so worked up, it's hysterical. He gets so angry where it's like, you cannot do that at all. It's like, Pribble, I just shinned the ball out of bounds when I tried to trap it. Like, clearly I wasn't intending to do that, like, but you can tell that all 3 of you guys just absolutely love it so much. It's infectious. It's fun to play with. I guess the 4.
It's funny that you.
4th on my
Sorry, go ahead.
List is Coach Keith Kicker. I have nothing to say. He's a nice guy. Everything. I just didn't make the team that year. That's why I vote him down. It's an absolutely.
You got to, right?
Totally. I'm a bitter person. That's for sure. I mean, they had a good squad, but I didn't make the team, so of course I've got to vote him down.
It's funny that you mentioned that about Adam because around the coaching tree, his nickname is Smash because it's like he wants to like just smash. There's a long story behind that I won't get into. You can ask him about it, or actually ask MVB about it. It's pretty funny. But we've all had that coach we played for where you like you said, you shin a ball out of bounds and they just jump in your ass, and you're like, or you send like a through pass and goes out like over a guy's head, and you're like, do you think I really wanted to play the ball 25 yards over a guy's head?
But then he'll come up and like put his arm around you as you're walking off the field, like, hey, you're doing such an awesome job today. I just had to make a point right there. We had to get the intensity up, and you're like, I totally get it.
Right.
I'm absolutely not hurt by this, but it's hilarious. It's just such a wave, that roller coaster we talked about earlier. He's just up and down. Oh, it's fun.
And you gotta love it. It's you have to have a coach like that at some point in your life. You can't just have like the guy who is constantly pumping you up.
Oh, for sure. And I really like having the guys because I hadn't had really individual coaching. I don't know if I'm dissing anybody or not, but since high school, right? So like I took all that time off. I'm eager to have all that, grind you into the ground so you can get better type of stuff that kids get in college. Cause college coaches are notorious for being just jerks and just being assholes. The whole phrase of I'm not your friend, I'm your effing coach. You hear that from college coaches all the time. I never got that. I never got like if you get the ball in this scenario, you always do this, or this. Like, I'm trying to make it up on the fly here.
You're like looking for punishment, and then your brother joins the Navy. Like, what is wrong with you, boy?
Is not looking for punishment. It's looking for a little bit of feedback so I can beat people and do things. Because right now, if you ask anybody on the team, I'm pretty damn unorthodox. Where I'd rather, run full speed, catch it on my chest, and hit somebody and try to run instead of, you could have just caught it and passed it to somebody 5 yards away. Really simple.
Yeah.
What's funny, you mentioned that too, because you and I've had this conversation before where I don't think I've ever seen you score a goal where the ball's not moving. Like you like don't like to shoot a ball.
I'll take penalties,
that's
but
stationary.
I'm not good at free kicks anymore. You need a bag of balls and time to go hit set pieces. I used to do that when I was a kid, but I don't know. You need touches for that. I can't do that anymore.
But even in like
that's true.
Even in the run of play, like your goal against Med City, like you had ample time for the ball. It was just sitting there for you, and you rolled it forward just so you could hit it on the run.
I would prefer to hit something that's moving.
All right.
Another t-shirt idea.
All right, Nick. So we play lots of games on the show over 4 years. The new one is Ask John Anything. Are you familiar? Have you heard us play this yet?
I have. Just
all right. So you know that you can ask John 2 questions about anything, and that could be soccer related. It could be which of his kids does he think is going to grow up to be more successful. If he answers both of them, and he has to answer them truthfully, the game is over. But if you make him plead the fifth on any of the questions, he's going to have to answer the next one also truthfully.
Okay, so if I get him
out of all the guys, I
get
feel like you're going to get me.
Not answer something, he will have to answer my third question.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
Of all the players you've had come through the city pool, this is so mean. Who do you most regret bringing onto the field?
Okay, so out of all the players, so as
you already got him.
Sporting director. Well, no, I have to clarify it because I can answer it a couple different ways, and I need to make sure I can answer it right.
What player are you
saying like
that you gave
when I
Minneapolis
coach?
City jersey to represent the club? Kind of an alienating question.
Okay, I'm gonna answer it. Okay. I'm going to answer it, and I'm going to follow it up with a little bit of a story so that I don't sound like a complete asshole.
For whoever's on the other side of this.
So the most frustrating player that we've given a city jersey to, in my opinion, has been Brian Chapman. And it's not because Brian is a bad guy. It's not because he can't do things on the field. For me, he's a left-footed, athletic left back. And he's got like the sweetest left foot long ball that I've seen out of almost anyone in my time coaching or being around soccer. But it's the unwillingness to hit that ball, and for whatever reason, be it personal or disagreement with a coach, that's not the style he wants to play. But I mean, you remember from the Open Cup stuff, I had to basically humiliate him to have him realize it.
Big difference of style there.
To get into my story, yeah, 2 competing styles, but it's more of like it's my way or the highway type thing. The other thing was when we were playing against Oakland in the U.S. Open Cup. For those of you who don't remember, Evan Wright, who was a longtime Stegman's guy, he was our penciled-in starting left back. 2 days before the game, we were just doing a basic walkthrough of set pieces and doing some media day picture stuff with jerseys and stuff. And Evan was just hitting a couple shots on goal, and he pulls his quad badly. And then so he doesn't tell me until the morning of, and I'm like, all right, sweet. So I'm getting all my shit together for the game, and then I get a call from Evan. He's like, I can't go today. And I was like, God damn it. So I go to Brian, and I was like, Evan's hurt. The start's yours. Here's my instructions, what I want you to do. But for fuck's sake, I need you to play 90 minutes, not 89, not 91. I need you to play 90 minutes.
Well, 91 would have been okay.
Can you do that? Well, no, we ended up going in double overtime. So now you can see what my dilemma is. So
Right.
you only get 3 subs in the U.S. Open Cup. So it's not like the NPSL season where I can be like, oh, I can rotate 3 guys in that spot if I want. So I'm like, you have got to go 90 minutes because all of my scenarios are based on the fact that Evan can go 90 minutes. So you have to do this. I was like, I don't care if you're throwing up blood, you have to go 90 minutes. And he's like, got it. 67 minutes into the game, he runs by the sideline. He's like, I'm cramping up. I need a sub. And I was like, what did I tell you? And he had to be pulled out. We had to use one of our subs that we didn't want to use. Ended up winning the game though. But again, nothing against how he plays or who he is as a person. Just those 2 scenarios
just drove you nuts
for me.
Yeah, I like Brian. If he hears this or anything like that, obviously I enjoy playing with him. He's a good dude. And he loves soccer. That's for damn sure.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, 100%. Like you cannot deny the fact that guy is giving a lot back to the game too with what he's doing. So, but yeah. Sorry, Brian, you're number 1.
Because he didn't go 90, and because he doesn't like to smash a left foot.
He didn't go 90. Yeah.
All right.
2 things.
Second question. I should have been thinking about this during your long damn answer. Yeah, no kidding.
I set you up.
He lulled you to sleep.
Who would be your? Am I supposed to try to stump you here?
This is the one.
I mean, this is your last chance.
God damn it! I was gonna do a fun question, not something like actually challenging you. Let's see. If you're gonna have to give up. So give up one league, or give up all leagues but one. What soccer league are you gonna give up to watch, and that includes playing too? You're gonna give up playing in a particular league, or you're gonna give up watching all leagues? You can either watch, say, Premier League, and give up playing for the rest of your life, or you can play in old boys for the rest of your life, but that's your only soccer experience. What are you gonna go with?
Well, I mean, you would have asked me this question 3 years ago. I would have had a totally different answer, probably. So I'd give up playing to be able to continue to watch. And mainly it's because by just circumstance with all that I have going on in life and having a family and this, and plus I have a day job, to be able to sit down and watch a game, watch you guys play. And I've said it on our broadcast before, like I get nervous like I did when I drive up to the stadium at Augsburg and I actually get to your guys' games. And then as soon as the whistle blows and I'm up in the booth with Nordo and in the box with Nate and Tyler and all the production staff, it all goes away. So and I get super excited about, like, the nervousness goes away and it moves into excitement and passion. If I got to kick around another 1 day a week and I couldn't be part of soccer, it would eat me alive.
That's a stupid question, but anyways, I was going down the
Good to know.
route of, who would be your number 1 sponsor if you could choose any company to sponsor City beyond the cool sponsors we already have. But I realized that wasn't going to stump you for shit.
Well, I mean, we'll have to have you on again next time, and you can try to figure it out. Well, Nick, thanks so much for being with us this week. As always, you're just a ray of sunshine, man, on a cloudy day. We look forward to the day when we can actually watch you fly with the Crows again, because my last soccer memory of you on the field cannot be you scoring a first half hat trick versus the MTA U18s right before the lockdown. So I need something more than that. But thanks so much for joining us. We look forward to getting you back on the field whenever that may happen. But stay safe, and our paths will in person cross sooner rather than later.
Minneapolis City will see you soon. Bye.
Thanks, Nick.
All right, see you, man. Yeah, bye.
Well, that is all for this week's show, folks. Thanks, as always, to the show's sponsor, Summit Brewing Company. It's yard work season, man. I'm going to get out there tomorrow and be out all weekend, and I'm super pumped that Cabin Crushers are on sale. It's definitely time to destroy a couple Cabin Crushers while you're digging around in the mulch. Also, Keller Pills is in my fridge, so I'm excited about that. Get on down to your local liquor store and grab yourself some Summit to help you through these times, whether they're tough or backbreaking or you're just trying to self-medicate, man. Summit more meaningful brew since 1986. If giving back to the community means a lot to you, it's time to give to the club that gives back. And we talked a little bit about it tonight. Minneapolis City is a 501c3 that provides a safe, reliable, and fun environment for people to play the beautiful game. Please consider a donation to Minneapolis City, whether it is in the form of your membership fee or any additional monies. That would be awesome. It is, of course, tax deductible, and we are a true city-focused organization. If you have anything you want us to cover, if you've got a hard-hitting expose, if you've got something you need us to really get to the bottom of in this long off season, any quests that you want us to undertake, to go on, send us mail. It's easy. You got to hit us up on Twitter at The People's Pitch, or you can hit us up on email, mcscpodcast@gmail.com. And now we've got a phone number if calling is more your speed, and we can hear your voice live on the show. Hit us up on the hotline, 612-460-5683. That is 612-460-5683. All questions, comments, and concerns are welcome. And as always, you can hit the club up if you want on Twitter at MPLSCitySC. And that will do it for us this week. I am Nate. That was Nick Hutton. And, of course, John Bizworm. Hey, we got this, folks. Only 45 days to go? I don't even know. But there's light at the end of the tunnel. Let's make this happen.
You got the cat in it?
The cat.
Poster burning maple weeds, cradle major keys. Thinking back, I've been major since the minor league. So supreme, too much sauce off my olive NMDs. I could staple steez, bend the goat so I get the cheese, never fall. Rake them leaves and make sure every moment gets seized and everything I see.